In the heart of San Francisco, amidst the towering glass skyscrapers that gleamed like beacons of ambition, stood Greenwood and Associates, a consulting firm that had earned a prestigious reputation for helping tech giants scale and thrive. Greenwood was synonymous with success. Its polished offices, luxurious decor, and high-profile clientele were a testament to its prominence in the business world. Inside the sleek, modern building, executives walked with an air of superiority, their sharp suits and immaculate appearances a reflection of their authority. But amidst the glitz and glamour of this thriving empire, one woman remained invisible. Ella Turner, a janitor at Greenwood and Associates, was one of the many whose presence was hardly acknowledged by those at the top. She moved silently through the hallways, pushing her cleaning cart with a steady rhythm, while the top-tier executives bustled in and out of boardrooms, their faces as polished as their suits. To them, she was nothing more than a nameless face in the crowd, a mere cog in the machine of corporate life. But little did they know, Ella Turner was no ordinary janitor. Several years ago, when Greenwood and Associates was still a fledgling company, Ella had founded the firm with her own blood, sweat, and tears. The company had grown rapidly under her careful guidance, but due to personal health issues, Ella had decided to step back from the day-to-day operations. She handed over the reins to her cousin, Luke Turner, who had been appointed CEO. Since then, Ella had remained out of the limelight, quietly observing from the sidelines to ensure that the values she had built the company on were being upheld. But over time, she began to see cracks in the foundation of the empire she had so carefully crafted. Liam Carter, the CEO of Greenwood and Associates, embodied everything that was wrong with the company. Tall, impeccably dressed, and arrogant, Liam exuded an air of entitlement that seemed to seep into every aspect of his leadership. He treated his subordinates with disdain, often belittling junior consultants and support staff alike. His dismissive attitude toward everyone beneath him, including the janitorial staff like Ella, did not go unnoticed. Then there was Monica Hayes, the chief strategy officer. Like Liam, Monica had a smug sense of superiority that left little room for empathy. Her frequent remarks about the workers in lower positions, including the janitors, were laced with venom. Ella overheard Monica and Liam talking one afternoon as she swept the hallway just outside their offices. The conversation sent a shiver down her spine. "I don't know how much longer we can afford to keep the janitorial staff around," Monica said, her voice dripping with contempt. "They don't even clean the offices properly. It's embarrassing for a firm of our caliber." Liam chuckled, his arrogance spilling out in every word. "They're lucky to even have a job. It's not like they could do anything else. We can always replace them." Ella's heart sank. She had expected this kind of treatment from the likes of them, but hearing it so plainly spoken made it all the more painful. The company she had built, the company she had nurtured with so much effort, had fallen into the hands of people who were more interested in their own power than in the values of respect and integrity she had instilled. As the days wore on, Ella's frustration grew. She had once believed that patience was the key to regaining control of her company, but now, as she witnessed Liam's increasing arrogance and manipulation, she realized that her time had come. Ella had to act, but she couldn't reveal her true identity just yet. She needed to gather more information to understand how deep the corruption truly ran. Every morning, she arrived at the office before the sun had fully risen, when the building was still silent and empty. She would begin her rounds, pushing her cleaning cart through the pristine hallways, mopping floors and emptying wastebaskets. But her focus was never on the mundane tasks at hand. Instead, Ella watched the behavior of the people around her, observing their interactions with cold precision. She watched Liam, tall and handsome, walk through the halls as if he owned the building. She saw Monica, who sneered at the lower-ranking staff, treating them like they were invisible. But what disturbed Ella the most wasn't just the way Liam and Monica treated others. It was the way Liam had started to treat her. At first, She thought she was overreacting. But soon, it became clear that his behavior wasn't just dismissive. It was something darker, something more sinister. One morning, as she mopped the floors outside Liam's office, he walked by and stopped, his eyes narrowing as he took in her figure. His smile was laced with arrogance, and he leaned toward her as if he were inspecting a piece of property. One morning, as she mopped the floors outside Liam's office, he walked by and stopped, his eyes narrowing as he took in her figure. His smile was laced with arrogance, and he leaned toward her as if he were inspecting a piece of property. "Hey, Ella," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "You know, you could clean this place a bit better, especially when you're around someone as attractive as you." Ella si congelò. She had braced herself for Liam's arrogance, but this crossed a line. His words were not only insulting, they were deeply inappropriate. She tried to maintain her composure, forcing a smile despite the disgust swirling inside her. "Sorry, Liam," she said, her voice steady. "I'll check it again." But Liam wasn't done. He stepped closer, his eyes lingering on her with a predatory gleam. "You know, someone as pretty as you shouldn't be stuck cleaning," he continued. "I could make sure you get a better position here, a more fitting one, if you just cooperate." Ella's stomach churned with disgust, but she held her ground. She knew what Liam was trying to do. He was using his position to manipulate her, to use her in whatever way he saw fit. Her heart raced, but her voice remained calm. "I'm happy with my job, thank you," she said firmly, though inside she was seething. Liam smirked, clearly enjoying the power he had over her, but Ella's patience was wearing thin. The next day, after finishing her rounds, Ella was preparing to leave the office when she ran into Liam again. This time, it was in the parking garage, where the air felt heavy with tension. Liam blocked her way, standing too close, his body language shifting from casual to something far more dangerous. "You've been working so hard lately," he said, his voice low and almost predatory. "I've been thinking, maybe you deserve something more than this cleaning job. There's a place for you here. You just need to be a little more cooperative." Ella's heart pounded in her chest. The threat was unmistakable. Liam was using his power to intimidate her, to suggest that her job was on the line if she didn't comply with his demands. "I could make sure you're not here much longer," he continued, his breath hot against her skin. "You won't have a chance anywhere else, not with your lack of experience. But if you listen to me, I could set you up with something better." Ella felt a surge of anger and humiliation, but in that moment, she knew what she had to do. This was the breaking point. She looked him dead in the eye, her voice steady and cold. "Liam, if you keep this up, you'll regret it," she said, her words sharp and full of warning. "And if you try this again, I'll make sure you never step foot in this building again." Liam's face twisted in surprise, his confidence faltering for the first time. But Ella wasn't done. She had had enough of his harassment, his arrogance, and his manipulation. It was time for him to face the consequences. The following morning, Ella walked into the office, but not as the janitor everyone knew her to be. She was now dressed in a sharp tailored suit, her hair neatly styled, her presence commanding attention. As she passed through the lobby, the employees who had once ignored her now stared in disbelief. Liam and Monica sat in the boardroom, preparing for a meeting when they noticed her enter. At first, they didn't recognize her, but when she made her way to the head of the table, where her cousin Luke stood, their faces turned white with shock. "This is Ella Turner," Luke announced proudly, gesturing to her. "The founder and owner of Greenwood and Associates." The room fell into stunned silence. Liam's face shifted from confusion to disbelief. He stood up quickly, his arrogance crumbling in an instant. "Wait, what is this?" Liam stammered. "You're the janitor? Are you telling me you've been—" Ella cut him off, her voice calm and firm. "Yes, Liam. I've been working undercover as a cleaner. observing the company firsthand. And what I found was disturbing. You've harassed me. You've mistreated employees. And you've abused your position. You failed to uphold the values this company was built on. Liam's face turned red with anger, but there was a flicker of fear in his eyes. You can't do this. I'm the CEO here. Not anymore, Ella replied, her voice cold as ice. Effective immediately, you're fired, and legal action will follow. Liam's confidence shattered. You can't. Ella silenced him with a single glance. No more chances, Liam. You had your opportunity, and you abused it. Liam was escorted out of the building, his pride shattered, his power evaporated in an instant. As Ella addressed the remaining employees, her gaze swept across the room. For those of you who have acted with integrity, your jobs are secure. But for those who have contributed to this toxic culture, there will be consequences. Several managers and board members were escorted out of the building. And then, Ella turned to face her employees. Greenwood and Associates will now be a place of respect, innovation, and integrity. This is the company I built, and it will thrive again under the right leadership. Under Ella's guidance, the atmosphere in the office shifted. The toxic culture that had plagued the company was eradicated. The firm, which had once been riddled with corruption and arrogance, now flourished once again. This time, with values of honesty, respect, and integrity at its core. As she sat back in her office, Ella reflected on the journey she had just completed. The company she had built from the ground up was now in her hands again, and she was ready to lead it back to greatness. Her phone buzzed with a message from Luke. We're in this together, Ella. Let's rebuild. Ella Sonrio. The storm was over, and this time, the company would flourish. Not just because of profit, but because it was built on the right values. Karma, Ella thought with a wry smile. It always finds its way back.